everyone. Today we're going to learn about diversity of ecdysozoans. From this topic, we should be able to identify the characteristic unique to ecdysozoan, compare the anatomical features of roundworms and arthropod, describe 5 characteristics responsible for the success of the arthropod. So, what is ecdysozoan? The ecdysozoan are protostomes that include roundworms and arthropods. Ecdysozoan construct outer covering called cuticle to protect and support the animal, and predically shade to allow growth. Reproduction of ecdysozoan involves separate sexes, which come in 2 ways. First, they come together and copulate to deliver sperm into the female body, or directly fertilize eggs as they release. So, for the first part, let's go further about roundworms. Roundworms, or phylum Nematoda, are non-selected worms that are prevalent in almost any environment. Nematodes has been characterized as the most numerous multicellular organism on Earth, mainly because they are so abundant in soil. Roundworm has cylindrical body, and they have internal organs including the tubular reproductive organ, which lie within this pseudocolumn. Before we go further, let's see a video about parasitic roundworms.
Good morning. Today's lesson is Ascaris lumbricoides infection.
But what is Ascaris?
Ascaris lumbricoides is an intestinal parasite of humans. It is the most common human worm infection. The larvae in adult worms live in the small intestine and can cause intestinal disease. This disease causes scariasis.
How is Ascariasis spread?
Ascaris lives in the intestine, and Ascaris eggs are passed in the feces of infected persons. If the infected person defecates outside, or if the feces of an infected person are used as fertilizer, then eggs are deposited on the soil.
Oh, then
Eggs can mature into a form infective stage. Ascariasis is caused by ingesting this infective eggs.
But how this happen? Can you please explain?
This can happen when hands or fingers that have contaminated dirt on them are put in the mouth, or by consuming vegetables or fruits that have not been carefully cooked, washed, or peeled.
Who is at risk for infection?
Infection occurs worldwide in warm and humid climates where sanitation and hygiene are poor, including in temperate zones during warmer months.
What are the symptoms of Ascariasis?
People infected with Ascaris often show no symptoms. If symptoms do occur, they can be light and include abdominal discomfort. Heavy infections can cause intestinal blockage and impair growth in children. Other symptoms, such as cough, are due to migration of the worms through the body.
How is Ascariasis diagnosed?
Some people notice infection when a worm is passed and their stool is coughed up. Healthcare providers can diagnose Ascariasis by taking a stool sample and using a microscope to look for the presence of eggs.
How can I prevent infection?
Avoid contact with soil that may be contaminated with human feces. Wash your hands with soap and warm water before handling food. Also, teach children the importance of washing hands to prevent infection. Wash, peel, or cook all raw vegetables and fruits before eating, not defecating outdoors, and by effective sewage disposal systems.
What is the treatment for Ascariasis?
Anthelminthect medications, such as albendazole and mebendazole, are the drugs of choice for treatment. Infections are generally treated for 1 to 3 days. The recommended medications are effective.
Thank you, teacher.
Other than Ascaris, we have trichinosis, caused by the nematode Trichinella spirosis, which is a serious infection that humans can contract when they eat rare pork containing encysted Trichinella larvae. Next, we have heartworm disease, caused by filarial worms, which is another type of roundworms. Elephantiasis is a disease of human caused by another filarial worm, called Wuchereria bancrofti. This parasite uses mosquito as a vector to transmit the disease to humans. For the last one, we have pinworms. Pinworms occur commonly in children and cause infection.
Hi, now we're going to continue our topic of diversity of the Ecdysozoans with the subtopic of arthropods. Arthropods are a very large group of protostums that have exoskeletons and jointed appendages. The phylum includes insects, crustaceans, millipedes, centipedes, spiders, and scorpions. The arthropods has 5 remarkable characteristics: the exoskeleton, segmentation, nervous system, respiratory organs, and metamorphosis. The jointed exoskeleton is composed primarily of chitin that makes it strong and flexible. This is to provide protection, attachment for muscle, locomotion, and prevention of desiccation. When the arthropods grow, they need to molt by the help of an enzyme, partially dissolve and weaken the old exoskeleton for the animal to wriggle out. Next, the arthropods has a segmentation that is readily apparent. Each segment has a pair of jointed appendages. It is basically hollow tubes moved by muscles. They are highly adapted for a particular function such as food gathering, reproduction, or locomotion. In addition, many appendages are associated with sensory structures and used for tactile purposes. Third is the nervous system. They have various types of sense organs that connected to their brain and a ventral nerve cord. There are 2 types of eyes, compound and simple. The compound eye has many complete visual units that each lens of each visual unit focuses an image on the light-sensitive membrane, while the simple eye has a single lens that brings the image focus into many receptors and receives only a portion of the image. Aside from that, the arthropods has a respiratory organs both for marine forms and terrestrial forms. The gills used by the marine form are a thin-walled tissue for gas exchange, while the terrestrial forms have book lungs or trachea as a rapid way to transport oxygen directly to the cells. The last one is the metamorphosis, functioning as an immature stage to become an adult. They will eat different food and live in different environments. For example, the most common insect is butterfly. The caterpillar feeds on leafy vegetation while the adult feeds on nectar. This will reduce competition for resources and increase the animal's overall fitness. Next, we are going to look at the representative of varied phylum. The first one is the crustaceans such as lobsters, crabs, and crayfish. They live in aquatic environments. They are derived from their hard, crusty exoskeleton and extremely diverse. The first 2 pairs of appendages that lie in front of the mouth have a sensory function. The other 3 pairs lie behind the mouth and mouth parts used in feeding. Animals have a thorax that bears 5 pairs of walking appendages, and the gills are positioned above the walking legs. The first pair of walking legs may be modified as claws. First typical crustacean is crayfish. The head and thorax are fused into a cephalothorax, which is covered on the top and sides by a non-segmented carapace. The abdominal segments are occupied with swimmerets, small feather-like structures. The first 2 pairs of swimmerets in the male, known as claspers, are quite strong and are used to pass sperm to the female. The last 2 segments bear the arthropods and the tersen, which make up a fan-shaped tail. Their respiratory system consists of gills that lie above the walking legs, protected by the carapace. They had a stomach divided into 2 main regions, an anterior portion to gain coarse food and a posterior region to prevent coarse particles from entering the digestive glands. The absorption takes place here too. So they also have colon to compose chiefly of the space about their reproductive system. Their heart will pump the blue respiratory pigment hemocyanin that contained in hemolymph into a hemocoel. Next is their nervous system, has a well-developed sensory organs. They have a brain and a ventral nerve cord. The sensory organs include tactile antennae and chemosensitive state. The crayfish has their sexes separated. The male will open a coiled sperm duct to the outside at the base with legs. They will modify first two swimmers to transfer the sperm, while the female will open their ovaries at the bases of the third working legs. Following fertilization, the eggs are attached to the swimmers of the female. The second representatives of reptilian are the centipedes and millipedes. Centipedes is 100-leggers that each of their body segments has a pair of working legs. They live in moist environments such as under blocks and in leaf litter. While millipedes is the 1,000-leggers that each of 4 thorax segments bears one pair of legs. The abdominal segments have 2 pairs of legs. They likely live under stones or burrow in the soil as they feed on leaf litter. Their cylindrical bodies have a tough, chitinous exoskeleton. Now we're going to continue our next representative of this large reptilian, that is insects and chelicerates.
Okay, now let's move to the last group of arthropoda, which is hexapoda, that commonly refers to insects. Okay, insects are adapted for an active life on land, but although some have secondarily invade aquatic habitats. Okay, the body of an insect is divided into 3, which is their head, their thorax, and an abdomen. Okay, the head bears the sense organs and mouthpart, while the thorax bears 3 pairs of legs and possibly 1 or 2 pairs of their wings, and the last one, the abdomen, usually contains most of the internal organs. Okay. In addition, wings enhance insects' ability to survive by providing a way of escaping enemies or to help them find their food. Okay. In general, insects undergo metamorphosis to transform a duck from an immature form. Okay, metamorphosis is the multi-step process which immature forms of animals are transformed into a duck. Okay, there are 2 types of metamorphosis, which is incomplete metamorphosis and complete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis describes gradual change from one developmental stage to the next stage, while complete metamorphosis describes dramatic developmental change from one stage to the next stage. The difference between incomplete and complete metamorphosis is incomplete they describes gradual, but complete is dramatic changes. Okay. By having 2 different body forms in their life cycle, which is incomplete and complete metamorphosis, insect can pack 2 different but highly successful and highly specialized modes of living into the life cycle of one animal. Okay, first example of insects is grasshopper. Okay, generally grasshopper has 2 pairs of wings and 3 pairs of legs, which the 3rd pairs of legs is function to help they jump. Okay, their 4 wings are tough and leathery. Okay, for information, grasshoppers undergo incomplete metamorphosis, which is the dramatic changes in stage. Okay, in respiratory system that include in grasshopper is spiracles, trachea, and moist areas. We will go deeper about it later. Okay, grasshopper are called nymphs when it is immature before they be a mature grasshopper. Okay, the significant difference between immature and mature grasshopper is their body proportion. Okay, now I would like to talk about tell you the respiratory system of grasshopper. Okay, the respiratory system begins with openings in the exoskeleton that called spiracles. From here, air will enter small tubules called trachea. The trachea branch and rebranch, finally ending in moist area, where the actual exchange of gas takes place. This is the step that happen in respiratory system of an grasshopper. Okay, the last one, the last example of insects is chelicerates. Chelicerates is actually divided into many types and many species, but I would like to tell you the three main species of chelicerates. The first one is horseshoe crabs, which is familiar along east coast of North America. Horseshoe crab actually their body is covered by exoskeletal sheets that have anterior shield. Okay, the next one is scorpion. Scorpion is found on all continents except Antarctica. Especially North America is home to approximately. Okay, scorpions are nocturnal and spend most of the day hidden under a log or a rock. Okay, their pedipalps are large pincers and their long abdomens ends with a stinger which contains venom at their tail. Okay, the last one is spider. Spider is actually the most familiar chelicerates. The spider is the most familiar chelicerates. It have a narrow waist that separates the cephalothorax from the abdomen. So spiders do not have compound eyes. Instead, they have numerous simple eyes that perform a similar function. The chelicerates are modified as fangs with dark from poison glands, and the pedipalps are used to hold, taste, and chew food. Okay, the abdomen often contains glands, and spiders spin a web in which to trap their prey. Okay, I think that's all for our topic. Thank you.